This conversation might change the way you parent forever. Today, I'm joined by Barry Garapedian, a former Wall Street powerhouse who now helps children and families build unshakable confidence, purpose, and character. We talk about how to raise extraordinary kids by building a family constitution, leading with vision, and teaching kids how to truly create value in the world. Whether you're raising a toddler or a teen, this is an episode that will make you want to sit your whole family down and start talking legacy tonight.
Don't move. Keep it locked. You already know. You're listening to the Fit Fatherhood Podcast. And we're having conversations with dope dads covering the 4 pillars of fatherhood. We call it the Fit Fatherhood Formula. Faith, family, finance, and fitness. That's right. These dads are setting the pace in business and fatherhood. This show isn't only about the outside success. We're getting down to who you are. Gentlemen, it's time to get fit. And now, let's get into the show.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of the Fit Fatherhood Podcast, a podcast for fathers by fathers, where we talk about the 4 pillars of fatherhood, which are faith, family, finance, and fitness. And I don't know if you guys are catching on to this. The last few episodes, I've had guests that have kind of starting off, everybody's kind of been around the same age range in terms of kids. Like my kids are 10 and 12. And if you've been paying attention to the last few episodes, you notice that I'm kind of preparing for what's to come next. And so the last few guys I've had on have had older kids. And my guest today is someone who is helping young people prepare for that next step. And I hope my kids go to college. I'm preparing them to go to college. And so being able to talk to my guest today, I think is going to give me an opportunity to get a little bit of a leg up on that. My guest today is Barry Garapedian. Barry, how you doing today, brother?
I'm absolutely phenomenal. Best day ever.
I love to hear that. I always say something kind of along those lines. People ask me what's going on, and the typical response is nothing, right? But I always say everything, and because there's so much going on all the time. It's not possible for nothing to be going on. And then I like to say that I don't have bad days. I just have varying levels of good, right? Some days are great, some days are good. Never a bad day though. So I'm really actually, after kind of looking into what you do and the work that you're doing, like I said, I'm preparing and always trying to look forward, right? Trying to prepare for what's next. And my kids are they're pretty good students. And so I think they want to go to school. Well, I know they want to go to school after high school. And I know you do some work with that, but why don't you tell the guys a little bit about yourself? I don't want to steal your thunder here.
No, a quick 1 minute. I was on Wall Street for 39 years.
Okay.
So I worked in wealth management, ran a couple $1 billion book of business, sold it 3 years ago.
Wow.
And what I did on Wall Street is I did a lot of family governance with our clients. And in other words, I worked with our family's kids.
Okay.
So I've had about 40 years of experience working with kids anywhere from ages 14 to 30, I would consider the young minds.
Okay.
And what I figured out is some absolute secrets that very few people do. Remember, schools don't do one thing. They don't teach you how to be extraordinary.
Right.
They don't teach you. There's not a class on being great or extraordinary. So what I figured out is what would make someone extraordinary. And so that's what I'm doing right now. I'm spending all my waking hours, sold my business, and MAG 7 stands for the 7 lessons you never learn in school.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing right now.
That's your book, right? Winning the Game of Life, the 7 lessons that you never learned in school.
18 tactics. So there's many absolute call to actions we can talk about. But I think the underlying narrative with all of this for a young mind, whether they're 8 years old, 9 years old, 10 years old, you mentioned your kids are 10 and 12. The narrative is to be relentlessly useful. Relentlessly useful. And in other words, learn to create value for someone. So when we say value creation, it's not just material value. Material value is with money, but emotional value or spiritual value. How do you add value to anyone? And that's the mindset as a young entrepreneur we can adopt. And that's really the narrative of all the kids that I'm working with. We try to make sure they have that in them.
Yeah, and I know that's one of the focuses of your book. And so how would you say that fathers how will we do that? How do we do that? Like, how do we I don't know, kind of teach our kids to create value or to be valuable or to be of certain, like what should we be doing with our kids?
So,
Like I said, I got a 10 and 12. What am I telling them?
so we have I have grandkids. I have a 4 and a 2-year-old.
Okay.
Example, they were over the house the other day. They're helping me wash my car. They're seeing me doing things on the property, whether it's washing my car or blowing leaves off the tennis court or helping me with chores. One is get them active with me doing things. Now,
Okay.
they make more of a mess helping me wash the car, as we know, right? It turns out to be a nightmare, but the reality is they're doing it with me.
Right.
So I think the key thing is leadership by example. They don't see me coming home and cracking open a 6-pack of beer, or drinking wine, or smoking cigarettes, or doing the naughty things. They don't see that. They see everything. So one is demonstrating this in a public place. So if I'm outside, we're outside and we're being seated for dinner, how do I treat the server? How do I treat the waitress or the waiter? Do I address them by their first name? Do I treat them like the most important person in the room? Kids see this. That's one of the lessons that I think is very important. Another lesson, a simple thing, we have military in our family. And one of the things we taught our kids is to thank a veteran, a policeman, a fireman. So we'll have our young grandkids, in this case, we're teaching them to walk over to a veteran and say, thank you for your service. Things like that. These are values. These are principles. These are things that we live by. And what we also did very early in our career, in our lives, is we created a written family constitution. Written words, which in other words, actually are values in print.
Gotcha.
So we have a policy for anyone we see a veteran, we thank someone for their service. So these are the kinds of things. So the Constitution, it starts with your values, Rod, and you would write them out into 7 pillars. 4 of the pillars you already are honoring right now in your fatherhood energy. Our pillars are family, faith, friends, fitness, financial, fun, and philanthropy. Those 7 pillars are the pillars that under each one, there's guidelines.
Okay.
So a guideline, as an example, would be, let's say under family, we have a principle where anyone who goes to the airport, a family member must take a family member to the airport and pick them up. Why? We value drive time.
Okay.
Very simple. That's in our Constitution. Matter of fact, last night, I was picking my daughter and son-in-law up at LAX. 2 hours to get in there. Get back. Yeah. But that's an example of values, and we have it all written out. And again, they're guidelines. They're not rules. Another guideline we have in our world is we believe in this. We're capitalists. We believe in the system of merit. You have to earn it. And so we believe in work ethic. And so that's written. We don't want to hand our kids stuff. That's entitlement. We don't want that. So we believe in healthy struggles. A healthy struggle, which means working and figuring out fail forward. So there's a lot of things, but at the end of the day, to answer your question, it's written in values and then it's honored by the mom and dad or by the dad or by the mom.
Got you. Now, is that something that you came up with, like in your family? Like, say, for example, if I were to do, because we have kind of a mission statement where we work through some values, and I came up with some that I really liked. I went through some characteristics and things that I wanted to have in our family, and then I brought those to my wife. We kind of vetted them together. She added a couple, and then we brought our children in. And like kind of let them see what we were putting together and gave them some options and some things. So we have it actually in our foyer here when you come into the house. Kind of went on Canva and put it on a canvas, and it looks nice. But
that's awesome.
But is it in your case, is it something that as a father, like I put it together and then this is what I'm kind of laying it down as a foundation for my family, or is it more a collaborative thing, kind of like what I just mentioned?
It's a collaborative thing, what you just mentioned. So remember, nothing gets done. If we write here's a constitution. Here's what it looks like. Okay. This goes in a bookshelf. No one ever looks at it, right? In reality, that's what really happens.
Yes.
There's call to actions. There's things that we do every month.
Okay.
So I am the instigator of making things focused every month, whatever it might be.
Okay.
One of the rules we have in our Constitution is if our kids are in sports, and they have been in sports, my son played Division I tennis at Pepperdine, we would never bring a cell phone to a match or to a dance. My daughter danced. My son played tennis. If I brought a cell phone and I'm on the phone, the kid sees I'm on the phone. What does that mean? What is that basically saying? The phone's more important than my kid? That's in our Constitution. We never bring cell phones to a competition because we want to give 100% focus on the kid. In this case, your son or daughter.
Right.
There's lots of little isms like that. But you think them, but actually if you write them out, they become quite real. And it could be just exactly the way you did it, Rob. That's brilliant the way you're doing it.
Okay. Now I got a question for you. You said there's like call to actions or monthly call to actions or things like that. That's something I've been thinking about because we will not enough, right? Like it's in the, you know how like you put pictures on the wall because you oh, this really cool picture. Or like we put our mission statement on the wall and it looks really nice, but I don't know how often we revisit it. You know what I mean? Like we actually go and look. I do because I talk about this stuff and, you know, but as far as a family, I don't know how often. I know my girls are just walking by it like it's just a picture on the wall. And I don't know how often my wife looks at it, but like, how are you? Because I want to be, I guess what I'm asking is how do I get more structured or what are some of the things that you're doing to make sure that everybody is in alignment with that?
So it starts with them having goals. Now, remember, kids, written goals, it's hard for them to do. We then have them create a vision board. That's right, a Cameron Harrell vision board. And we have them put their vision board on their phone if they have phones.
Okay.
So it's on my screensaver. That's my vision board. This is the template of reminding me of things I need to do. And we do this once a year. So a vision board is images that empower you. Adults do this, okay? So what if we were to have your 10 and 12-year-old write out some goals or things they aspire to, besides being a great student and sports and all the different things and different philanthropies, charities, things they're involved in. We sort of laid it out for them and gave them some structure. Okay. What's going to happen is you will figure out ways and things that could add to that on a call to action. So it might be, okay, we're going to this event. I want you to talk to 3 people. I want you to introduce yourself to 3 people. And in other words, we're practicing what I call practice going first, which is one of the tactics in the book, meaning being the first to introduce yourself. Good morning, good afternoon. What is your name? Being the first person in an elevator to ask everybody in the elevator, what floor? And that person's pushing the buttons. Or picking up a piece of trash that you didn't put there, but you put the trash back. These are examples of practice going first, which demonstrates in a micro white belt level leadership. It's also building confidence.
Yeah.
Do this all the time. That's the first iteration of developing confidence. The game's really self-esteem. So building self-esteem, how do you do that? That's through accomplishments. Now, not everyone plays sports. Mm-hmm. Not everyone is in that world. Your family is for sure in the sports genre. Not everyone is. Right. So we find ways they can be successful in things. So that was one, practice going first.
I like that. And I really like the vision because we will do kind of seasonal. We'll write down our goals, like we do our goals for the spring or for the summer, for fall, mm-hmm. like that. And we have them in our living room, and I don't like it. And I like the practice of it, but we do it on like a poster board, and it's just like these mm-hmm. poster boards just up on the counter in our living room. And I like the idea of it, but I really like this phone idea because that's something you interact with all the time.
Here's the reality. These can be assets or liabilities, right?
Yeah.
These are huge assets. And I'll get into some other tactics of how you can use the phones as a huge asset. But remember, most kids are visual.
Yeah.
I can look at this right here and I say, boom, fitness is a big part of our life as it is part of your life. I have a picture of some really nice food here. Okay. Yeah. To remind myself to be eating unprocessed stuff, eating more, eating less processed, more unprocessed, or whatever that might mean. But remember, kids, you need to make it fun. You need to make it fun so they can sustain doing this. And you bring this to your kids at 10 and 12, before you know it, they're adopting these things and they're going to show this to other kids. Look what I have. What's on your phone? Oh, it's my vision board. So it's that simple. It's not complicated. Anything that empowers you. It could be a picture of a family member. It could be a picture of a grandparent, a cousin, an aunt, or a mentor, or something you're aspiring in sports, or a sports team. It can be anything.
Yeah, I like that. I really do, because I think what is happening is myself or my wife will have to remind them of the goal that they set. Right. Because I see it all the time. Because like I said, it bothers me. It's like I say, it's great in practice, but the way we have it set up bothers me, because it's just like over time, the poster board's corners start folding over, and it's not attractive to have in the living room. But I find myself
But
having to
just take a
remind them.
picture of it with the phone. Have them take the picture of it,
Yeah.
put it on the phone. It's that simple.
Yeah, yeah, and then they have to interact with it more often, right? Like every time you open up your phone, if it's your screensaver, you see that several times a day.
Multiple times during the day. You can't escape it.
Yeah, yeah, I like that, man. I'm borrowing
There's
that.
many tactics like that. I'll tell you another tactic that we use all the time with kids is, let's say they're invited to a birthday party or a wedding or an anniversary, some kind of a gathering. And the kid might be introverted, the kid might be extroverted, we don't know. Or they might be in the middle, which is called an ambivert, person in the middle. I said, here's what you're going to do. You're going to ask the host and hostess if you could do a reel. That means you're going to go up to 50 different people and you're going to ask them to say happy birthday to Rod. It's Rod's birthday. And they're going to get 15, 20, 30 seconds of 50 different people saying happy birthday to you. Mm-hmm. You're going to give me all that content. I have a videographer that will create a reel, 5-6 minutes of 50, 60 people saying happy birthday to Rod. We're going to gift that to the host and the hostess as a gift. Now, what did we just do? One, we differentiated that kid from everybody else because no one's doing that. Mm-hmm. Two, that kid is networking in a creative way. Instead of being with his 3 or 4 people at the table, he's talking to 50, 60 different people he would have never talked to. Mm-hmm. And he's doing this for the betterment of somebody else. And he has now created a incredible legacy item that was your birthday, better than pictures.
Yeah.
We do this all the time, especially at weddings, birthdays. So convincing that kids have no problem with that. You know why? They're comfortable with this.
Yeah.
And it's about the other person. It's not about them. So that's a technique we use for networking. And there might be 2 or 3 names in there that you might connect with that might have an opportunity for you, an internship, a job. Do this all the time.
Yeah, I like that, man. What are some of the what are some these are great, man. What are the other tactics?
Let me give you another one. I have 18 of them. Here's another one. It's called Profiles, and your kids can do this now. Profiles in Success. They're going to be an author of a book, Rod. What do you mean? They're going to interview 25 different people in a genre or an industry they're interested in. So let's just say, as an example, your 12-year-old is boy or girl?
Girl. 2 girls.
And 2 girls. And what are their names?
Reagan and Reese.
And the 12-year-old, her name is?
Reagan. Mm-hmm. Reagan.
So Reese, Reagan. So Reagan, you're going to identify 25 people in your city or region that are interested in, let's just say, what would you think her interest might be right now?
Right now, outside of softball, well, so she's got a ton, but so softball, acting, and she just got into journalism. So I already like where this is going with. So
let's just say, just for the simplicity of this conversation, she's interested in journalism.
Yes,
we meaning you and her would help identify 25 journalists, writers, whether it's books, magazines, or actually in the media, where she could interview them. Now, here's how the interview would go. She's going to call up, introduce herself. I'm writing a book. I've identified the 25 most successful journalists in the region, and your name came up. And all I want to do is hear your story. How did you do it? She's going to get her phone. Reagan's going to get her phone. She's going to press otter. She's going to transcribe the whole interview. She will then use the otter to give to me or to someone who's going to write a 1,500-word profile. We're going to amass 25 of these profiles. We're going to put it in a book with Reagan Richards' name on the title. Reagan Richards, Profiles in Success. She's going to have that book. She's going to gift that book to other kids as a philanthropic organization. This is her gig. This is not a school project. This is something she's doing as extra credit. She's now an author at 12. Who does that?
Right. Yeah.
Very few people do. That now, here's what that's going to do. One, she's going to build much more confidence. Two, she's going to network. Maybe 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 of those people might be potential job people. Who knows? We never know.
Right.
She's also going to have the status of being an author. What do you think it's going to do to her confidence?
Yeah.
No doubt. Her
Yeah.
confidence will go through the roof being an author in her teens. I've done that with adults. I've done this at all different levels when I was on Wall Street. So that's a strategy that's even easier now because of AI. Because Otter can transcribe it. We can give it to a chat. We can actually run that profile pretty quickly and create a book of 20 to 25 different people who are successful. It could be any industry. I've had people do it in supply chain logistics. I had people do it in sports. That's another idea that is not difficult, but guess what? Life gets in the way. It's hard. In reality, this is hard to do. That's why no one really does it, unless you have a mentor or a coach who's saying, hey, our goal is to have this. So we write the goals down. Your goal is to be an author, Reagan. We're going to have this done by December 31st, 2025. We're going to have it done. We can do this. 6 months, we can do this.
Man, I really like that. Because it does a couple things. One, it informs them of the thing that they're interested in, right? They actually get to hear, as we used to say, from the horse's mouth. Like they actually get to hear from the people that they think are doing the thing, right? So now they can lean on the experiences of those people. So if it's something that she's interested in, like just say journalism, for example, she's getting to talk to accomplished journalists who are already doing it. She's getting an inside scoop on what journalism is from them. So she's going from being a 12-year-old journalist with little to no experience to having the experiences of people she would consider to be great journalists. She's getting the opportunity to interview people, which is essentially journalism. Like she's got now 25 professional interviews under her belt. As you mentioned, she's an author now. And if through this process of interviewing these people, she finds out that she really, really is interested in journalism, she can now take that further and do more with it because she has not only the knowledge, but hopefully she's built relationships with these 25 people who can mentor her even further along the line. Man, this is wow. Okay,
in addition to that, Rod, you hit all of them. There's one other one. Let's say she wants to go to college and she has to show a lot of other unique things that she's done besides school service and philanthropy. Oh, she's an author of a book. What do you think a school administrator is going to see when they see that? They're going to say, wow, we want her in our school. I've done this numerous times. Here's another example of a tool that I use a lot with young minds. It's called lightning strikes. That's right, a lightning strike. What is a lightning strike? A lightning strike is exceeding someone's expectation on purpose, which means doing something for you didn't expect. What if we were to create 1 or 2 lightning strikes a week where Reagan or Reese are coming up with these unique ideas to create an expectation for someone they're not expecting? We do that. That's something that could be as simple as writing a hand note to a parent or to a parent. It could be a grandparent, a cousin. It could be to anyone. And then teach them how to write a proper hand note. That's right. We'll get unbelievable stationery, cards, their monogram names on the card, thick stock, liners. On the back of the envelope, when they seal it, they're going to drip wax and put their seal on it. Dead serious.
Okay.
Very few people do this. On the front of the envelope, not only do we put a stamp, we put vintage stamps. Then we put a return label. Then in the note's always about the other person, about empowering the other person. What if we taught them how to do a note like that, and they had to send out 1 or 2 hand notes a week? What's going to happen? Talking about empowering, talking about blowing the lock off the vault, unfair competitive advantage. It's not happening now. Because why? Quicker, faster, AI. I can text, I can video text. Old school still works, even with resumes and LinkedIn. Oh, great. You have to have that. But what if you were to send a hand note with a resume, 1 or 2 a week? All of these things work. in the real
Yeah.
world.
Yeah. And because they have such a different feel. Like when I get it's funny because like where we live is a pretty nice area. Not like, it's a nice area. And so we get realtors who will send us sometimes what looks like a handwritten note, right? It's like it's not handwritten, but
Right.
yeah, but the way it looks is like it's handwritten, and it gets me every time because I'm like, oh man, somebody wrote me something, and then I realize like this is just ink, like this is an actual pen. But it does give you there's just a different feel about it.
Rod, you're 100% right. And it makes, when you write a handwritten note, or you can see it's actually written and there's a stamp on it, you feel special. Hey, this guy took the time and wrote me a note
Yeah.
thanking me very much for this. So that's another tactic that we can teach our young minds how to do. But again, they need to get stationary. They need to learn how to do it. And again, they're not learning this stuff in school, Rod. I can tell you that right now, because I work with a lot of kids in college, and I work with many of them across the country. They're not learning this stuff. They learn it somewhere, or maybe they don't learn it at all.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? I would lean on they don't learn it at all, right? I think
Yeah,
at this
I
point
would think
now.
that's another idea that is really easy to do, but both people don't do it. I call it win streak. And what in other words is, rather than journaling every day, I say, why don't we just do this? At the end of the day, you write down the 3 biggest accomplishments you had for the day,
Okay.
whatever they are. Oh, I ran 5 miles, I lifted, I swam, I did my school, whatever. 3 biggest accomplishments, and then you write down the 3 biggest accomplishments you want to do the next day. You do that every day. That's 6 positive iterations you're making a day times 7, 42. Do you think you're going to be more positive? Do you think you're going to be having a mindset versus being a scarcity mindset or being in this victimhood mindset? No, it can't be that way when you're writing 42 things that are good that you want to have happen.
Yeah.
Simple. Very few people do that.
Yeah, I like this, man.
That's
Look,
called win streak.
I feel like we just got started talking, and there's like so many things, and my mind is racing to like all these things that I need to do and get to going. What would you say though? Like, I mean, obviously, getting the book is ideal because everything is listed there. But like, what would you say is like the number one, or maybe the first thing that parents or fathers should do in terms of like leading their kids
Yeah,
in
I
the
would
way
say
that you kind of like?
this. That's a really good comment. I would say the most important thing for the kids, besides loving them unconditionally, is believing in them. And what I mean by believing in them is my parents gave me the I believe button very early when I was a young kid. They believed in me. I felt I could do anything. And that belief system got me into doors I would never be able to get into. So I would say having the I believe button is where you want the kids to be, but you have to demonstrate that they can do it. Hey, we know that you're going to miss 100% of the shots if you don't take, right? We heard that from Wayne Gretzky, okay? You don't take the shot, nothing's going to happen. You have to take the shot. So that comes into fail forward. Failing forward. So failing forward is a mindset that you're going to fail, but I don't look at it as failure. You're either winning or you're learning. You know that in sports, you're winning or you're learning. So the mindset is take the shot, go for it. You can't fail in my eyes. Go for it. So I would say, to answer your question, the parents need to demonstrate they believe in their kids. Not saying what they can't do, but what they can do. And the kid needs to feel, if they don't hear from their parents, their mom and dad, who are they going to hear from? Maybe it might be their coach if they're lucky enough to be on a sports team. Not everyone's on a sports team or playing Division I ball or high school ball, right? They don't hear from their coach. Who are they going to hear from? Probably nobody.
Right.
So it starts with mom and dad believing in them. And then from that standpoint is having the mindset that it's really about playing offense, not defense. So your job is to go to school, get good grades. We want you involved in some form of sports, whatever that is, you define it. We believe that's very important for you to do. Then we also believe in you to have the mindset of giving back. That means being a giver, not a taker. We know who the takers are, right?
Yeah.
We want you to be a giver. And yes, some people are going to take more from you. That's okay. You be a giver. And so it comes into the whole philanthropy thing of learning to be of service and creating value for other people. And kids will say, I don't have anything to give. What can I give? Hey, You might know a book you could recommend. You might know someone that can help this person. You can give with emotional value, or being a friend, stepping up and being a good friend, or spiritually, which could be another particular higher power. There's many ways to give back by being positive and upbeat versus being negative and toxic. No one wants to be around a bitter person. And you can either go bitter or better. There's things happen in life. Choose which direction you want to be. I want to go better. Okay, then choose to go better. We don't have to go backwards. So,
right. Yeah, I like the idea of being of service, because as I mentioned, that's like always been my thing. It's like, how can I serve others? Like, because I feel like my success has always been directly related to how well I served other people, right? Like how good of a job I did as a coach led to the success of the team or success of the athlete. And in turn, it came back to me, right? Like I wasn't out there trying to serve myself or serving others. And in doing so, it came back to me, right? And it wasn't because I was looking for it to come back to me. It's just, that's the way it happened.
That's who you are. It's in your DNA, Rod. That's how you're wired. Your mom and dad gave you something, or you learned it somewhere to be of service and add value. 85% of financial success is due to your personality, your ability to connect with people, your negotiation skills, and leadership. 15% is technical knowledge. So all the other street stuff of 85% of being successful is not learned in school. It's not going to make you successful. Can you get along and share your toys with other people on the street? Can you be of service? All the things you're talking about. Then it comes down to consistency. Once a week's not going to do anything. Going to yoga once a week or lifting weights once a week does nothing for you. Okay, we know that.
Right.
Running 2 or 3 miles in the week is going to do nothing for you. There has to be a plan and a consistency to it. So everything you're saying makes a lot of sense. I love the idea that you're leading with service. You're leading with being a giver. That is the number one foundational piece, I think. And that comes down to faith. Having faith in your life.
Yeah. I think you're right. I don't know that I ever looked at it that way, as it was kind of because of my faith, like believing or trusting that in doing things the way that I was doing them, I would eventually be taken care of, but I guess that is faith, right? Like, because I wasn't out pursuing, because I definitely could have taken my career and chased every dollar sign, right? Or chased the optimal people, or I only want to work with this person, or I only want to work with these type of people. But I've never been that way. I've always been open to working with anyone and everyone, because I feel like everybody has a goal that they're chasing. And if I can help them achieve that goal, then it meant the world to me, right? And so what is, in your opinion, right, if we're trying to teach the importance of serving others, because I'm trying to teach my daughters that way, and I think I'm doing a decent job, but what are some of the things that you would suggest that a parent or a father would do in order to, is it just leading by example, or are there some things
certainly that's one, leading by example, but I think it's quality time. I'll mention quality time with your kids, like not being on the phone, attending all their events, whatever that might be. It's very important that they know you're there, that they see what you're doing. And then on top of that, they see how you treat other people, as simple as going out to dinner, how you treat the waitress or the waiter. Or it's more of teaching them. There's obviously consequences, but it's also work ethic. Nothing good happens unless you work hard. So it comes right down to what I call healthy struggles. So you're going to have to go through healthy struggles to be successful. What does that mean? Well, it means that you're going to have to work hard. Okay. You can't do that for your daughters, nor can I. So you can demonstrate it. You can demonstrate it from the standpoint that you need to do this, and no one's going to hand you anything. So it's much more fun having the fulfillment of earning it. So when I think of my kids, we intentionally did not give them too much. We intentionally made them earn it. When I sold my business, I didn't involve my kids. The kids are earning it on their own. You can't fake sports. You might get on a team, but you have to demonstrate you're good at this position, whether it's basketball. My son was a big basketball kid. He's only going to be 5'8". Say, buddy, we got to pick other sports that
Yeah.
you would be more suited for. So let's look at cross country, track, swimming, cycling, wrestling, tennis, golf. Pick one. 10 years old. You want to play a Division I sport? We're going to get focused on it. He did.
Yeah.
I had him sign an engagement letter at 12, committing to what he wants to do, because I'll pay for lessons if you commit to one thing, and that one thing is effort. You have to give me 100% effort on the court. If I ever see you throw a tennis racket, you're off. If I see you tardy, you're off. And then I want you to be the first to initiate a handshake. Win or lose, you walk up to the net and you shake hands and you offer your hand first. Win or lose. You lose a lot of tennis matches to get good.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
But it's learning. I always framed it, hey, you might lost the match, but what did you learn? What would you do differently, right? That's the only way to get really good. Golf, tennis, basketball. What was your primary sport, Rod?
Football. Football is my primary
And
sport.
what position did you play?
I played outside linebacker in college. I thought I was going to be a running back. I was a running back in high school. I thought that was going to be the thing.
And your fastest 40 was what?
4.64, I think was the fastest.
So you're fast.
Yeah. Now, not anymore. I was fast then. These guys now are blazing. You have linebackers now running in the low fours, like 4.2s and 4.4s and 4.3s. So I'm slow now. But then, yeah. I was fast for my position for sure.
So you think about the work and effort it took for you to be at that position. That's a big boy position. You're involved in everything, aren't you?
Everything.
You really are.
You're every level, right? You've got to, sometimes you got to walk up and be on the line and rush the passer. Sometimes you got to drop off and be in coverage. You got to stick your nose in. You got to cover tight ends. Like you have to do everything. You got to communicate too. That's the other part.
Is there a favorite college team you follow?
I'm a UCLA fan, and I say that with all of the humbleness I can, because we have not been good or great for a while. We've been middle of the road.
And what about a pro team? What's your favorite pro team?
I'm a 49ers fan. I'm from the Bay Area, so I'm a 49ers fan.
They're just amazing. They've had they just signed the new quarterback Purdy to a 5-year contract.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So hoping for the best, right? Hoping for the best. You know,
I love football. I love sports. I love basketball, football, baseball, tennis. I mean, if we go in there, ESPN's on. I'm always checking out what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I got a question kind of based on what you just brought up, though, kind of talking about like you have to lose a lot in order to be good.
Mm-hmm.
I think that is a major struggle with younger kids today, because one, social media is a highlight reel of all of everyone's successes. And so they think that they're only winning, right? And so when they lose, it's like, what is this? But in sports, I think what we learn is like you said, it takes a lot of losses to get good, or my daughters play softball. And so I tell them all the time, like, even if you're a great softball player, you're going to strike out more times than you hit the ball. Like, it just is what it is. Or you're going to hit the ball to someone that you're going to be out more than you're going to be on. And that just is what it is. And you have to learn that. But I think that's a really hard concept now for people to grasp, or kids to grasp, because they see so much success from other people. How would you say that we can kind of, like, I guess it's maybe more character building, but what are some suggestions maybe that you have?
I go with this phrase with our kids and kids I talk to: more is caught than taught. Meaning, you need to be in the game, in the moment, to realize how to learn. You can't learn how to play a linebacker at your desk, okay, or watching video, right? It's impossible.
Yeah.
Nor can you hit a golf ball or a tennis ball. So you got to be in the game. And the only way to be in the game is you're going to be making little boo-boos along the way, and they're learning moments.
Yeah.
Okay? So it's part of I call it a process. And these kids sometimes get caught in this gap in the game. There's a great book by Dan Sullivan, Ben Hardy, The Gap in the Game. And not being in the gap means you're always thinking about the result. No, focus on the process. Process. So when you were in the gym, lifting, getting strong, fit, you were doing all process. You did everything you could do. So when it was game time, you were ready. That's process. Game, you never know what's going to happen in a game, right? You never know.
Right.
Same thing on a golf course or a tennis. So it's process. Same thing in business. If you're doing the fundamentals, getting in early, showing up on time, being fit, watching what you're eating, what you're drinking, Also, you're the 5 people you most you are really the average of the 5 people you most aggregate with.
Mm-hmm.
So you think about who's around you. Are these people empowering you? Are they lifting you, or are they, are disempowering you? So you're the aggregate of the 5 people you most associate with. It's such a big deal for kids. So if you're around high performers, we know what's going to happen. You're going to ascend up. If you're around lower performers, it's not going to happen. So you need to be around kids that are actually, you need to be in the right rooms that are challenging you.
Yeah, that's funny you say that. Is I think about even if I think environment plays a large part of that too, because I was just thinking about football and thinking about our linebacker room and the years where we were good at that level of play, like that middle of the field, not D-line, not defensive backs. When our linebackers were good, the linebacker room was really good. The guys that were in the room at that time were the leaders of the team, or we had like really good work ethic. And so like even the guys that weren't starters could come on the field and have an impact, because just the way the room, like we didn't accept less. There was a standard, you know what I mean? And I do remember there were some years like when my first year at Michigan Tech, where I ended up going to school. I remember my first year, the linebacker room, we had one really good guy. And the rest of the room was like, not even talent wise, but I mean like dedication, commitment, show up early, leave late, that kind of stuff, right? We had one guy that was like that. And I was young, so I was like, I didn't even know what to do. I was just in there. Like they told me to be there. That's what time they said, be there at 10. I was there at 10. That was just, I was just trying to do what I was supposed to do. But I realized and I learned from that guy, because he was a senior, that there was more to it. And so the following year, I'm there early, I'm leaving late. And then I start noticing like that just kind of became, not because of me, I think it was more of a coaching change, but that became the thing, and the room felt different, right? And guys held each other to a different standard. And so overall, guys just played better. And so whether it was on special teams or if it was in the defensive packages or whatever it was, guys performed at a different level. And I don't think it was anything that was necessarily communicated either. It was just the environment of the room. Like, this is just who we are. And I like that, the aggregate of the 5 people you're around, because those 5 people don't necessarily have to be telling you this is how we do it. You are just picking up or sponging off of the people that are around you.
Absolutely. That's 100% accurate. Knowing your atmospheric conditions, I call it. So atmospheric conditions, again, it's like anything. If you're around better golfers, you'll be a better golfer, better tennis player, swimmer, anything. So I think the idea for the girls is to be around other young ladies or people who are aspiring to them, that might inspire them to be better. Mm-hmm. Or there might be an art class, and everyone's art's art, but some really cool artists can inspire. You just never know what they're going to be getting into. So I think the trick as a parent is to expose them to a lot of different things and see what they're interested in.
Yeah.
That's what our parents did. They exposed it to a lot of different things, and we chose. And both my parents were teachers, so we come from an academic background. And education is obviously huge. That's the foundation, the fundamentals. But then what else are you going to do? Like some of the things that we were talking about, lightning strikes, reels, profiles and success, practice going first. These are all tools. You don't learn this stuff in school.
Right.
I learned this on the street in New York. I learned this on the street working 39 years on Wall Street from families that I was handling all their affairs, all their money. So these things are not in a book. They're in a book now, Winning the Game of Life. But how about just getting into the mindset of ROI? We think of ROI as return on investment. No, I have a different frame on ROI for kids. ROI is return on investment. Is return on investment? No, it's return on impact. So return on impact, ROI, return on impact. The traditional way is ROI, return on investment. What if the kid were to focus on making an impact in a room, making an impact whatever he does? Now, it's a mindset. You don't just instantly be an impact. You have to have collateral, and you have to build things up so you can add value. But that's the mindset of having an impact on someone. Another thing that we were teaching kids is the third vault conversations. So learn to be able to have conversations with people. But third vault is the ultimate. First conversation, we call first vault. You go into a bank. Oh, there's the first vault. You got to get through the first vault. Second conversation, and they're talking about, did the Dodgers win? It's a beautiful day. That's first vault. Second vault's more storytelling, a little bit more intel about what's going on. We want to get into the third vault conversation, stuff that really matters.
Right.
Abilities, stuff that really matters. That's where the juice is, in third vault conversations. So that's my mission with people as I talk to them, is to get to that third vault, to see if I could really find out where they're suffering. How can I help them? And the key words being a pain detector. Where are they suffering? Because everybody's dealing with something, right?
Right.
If I could solve that issue for them, I immediately go to the top of the pyramid. That's the mindset we help kids with, is that, okay, don't just be in the room. See if you can add value. See if you can ask questions. How do these people do this? Be curious. Maybe they're doing something that you're not doing.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, what's funny is, and I talked to my oldest about this, is because it's interesting to me, is her and her, what I would say, her closest friends, her best friends, they have a whole lot of like really like first vault conversation. And I ask her all the time, I'm like, hey, do you know this about someone? Do you know? And it's like, no, we don't really talk about that. I'm like, well, what do you guys talk about? She's like, well, we talk about school or what happened in class. I'm like, yeah, but we did all this stuff this weekend, or they did all this stuff this weekend, and you guys didn't see each other. You don't talk about that at all? She's like, no, not really. People just don't talk about that stuff anymore. I'm like, what do you mean? People, somebody's talking about this stuff. Like, you should, because they're your best friends, right? Like your absolute best friends. And if you openly call them your best friends and you hang out with them whenever you get a chance to hang out or you talk to them, you got to be able to get to the third vault, right? You have to be able to have some insight into who they are and what's going on with them. Because I feel like you're not as good of a friend as you think you are. You know what I mean? Like, the same stuff as the people in the class know. Like, they were in class with people, and if all you talk about is what happened in class, then the other 32 kids know just what you know. So you guys aren't really best friends. You just hang around each other more.
Yeah, that's a great comment. You know, a lot of the times when I'm speaking with young minds, and again, they're all different ages, many kids have anxieties. They have fears. So I have them reshape that fear. You know, they have what's called FOMO, fear of missing out, FOMO. Let's change FOMO to a different term. Let's turn it to JOY-MO, JOY-MO, joy of missing out. Meaning, I was watching one of your podcasts. You were talking about what you do when no one's watching. You know, what you do, all this work, no one's really watching you, defines your character. I was watching one of your podcasts. Finding joy in that moment, you're present, doing something that really matters. You're swimming laps when it's dark. You're running laps early in the morning. You're in the gym, dark, everybody's gone. You said it. That's when character is really built. So we change the mindset from FOMO to JOY-MO. Find the joy. And when you do that, you're in the moment. You're present. You're not thinking about, oh my God, I'm not here. I'm not there. No, be present in the moment. JOY-MO.
Yeah, I like that. What I'm hearing you talk, there's a lot of reframing and a lot of mindset shifts that I think we have gotten comfortable just doing. I don't want to say status quo, but maybe it is status quo, kind of doing the status quo. Like, this is what everybody is doing. And so I'm just going to get comfortable doing what everybody else is doing because I don't want to rock the boat or think differently. But I think a lot of the successes that we're looking for are found in these shifts, right? And these differences. I think just that the successes we're looking for are in the differences that we have from other people, right? Because the things that I do differently than you, I can hopefully do not better, but not only can I do them better, but I can also help you do them as well. If that makes sense.
You do your own spin on it. You got to brand yourself. Your kids are them. You want them to design their own brand. So you take the best parts from you and your lovely wife, and they become themselves. So the key here is give them access, give them information. And I also am a big advocate of reading. We have a narrative called, it's the books you read, the people you meet. The books you read, the people you meet. Kids read 25 books a year, 2 books a month, Audible. They can't read it, you're going to listen to it on screen. So there's basic books they got to listen to. And believe me, maybe 10 and 12 is a little early, but certainly when they get a little older, they got to be reading because there's valuable content in these books.
Yeah, yeah. No, my kids are what did it say? Ferocious. They
Really?
read.
Oh, that's
My
amazing.
10-year-old, and this is an amazing thing, and I like to brag on her about this in particular. She's reading because they do like the iReady test, and they do
Yeah.
all of those things to kind of see where she's at. So at 10 years old in the fourth grade, she's reading at a 13. I don't. This is not even a thing. A 13th grade reading level. And so at school, they don't have books well, they do, but they won't let her read them because technically the the books that she's supposed to be reading based on her age level are too mature for her as a fourth grader.
Wow.
So they only let her read certain books. So we have like, I mean, we've got tons of books. Like anytime there's a book fair at school, we blow it out. Like we're buying everything. We
And
go
with
to the
her being a
library.
good reader, that also pivots into being a good writer, because if you're reading, you're looking at words, lexicon.
Mm-hmm.
Words then can help you write.
Yep.
Oftentimes, kids that are good readers, they're good writers.
Yeah, yeah. So again, I'll brag on her a little bit. They both are into acting, and they've done numerous plays and done some TV and some commercials and things like that.
Good for them.
But over the summer, she wrote a play.
Wow.
Again, she was 9 at this time. And so her task is to film it. So she's got to finish it by the end of this summer.
Wow.
So she wrote it out. She has all of our cousins and my other daughter. They're all playing roles in it. We just recently bought a camera so they can film it. We bought some props for her. So yes, I would 100% agree. Like I read it and I was like, whoa, like this is not like a 9-year-old writing this. Like there's depth to characters.
That's impressive.
Yeah, it's not just like, Timmy went to the well and then he fell down. Like
and Rod, you're feeding it. You're giving them all the positives. There's nothing they can do that would make this unsuccessful. It's all a win-win. A win-win.
Yeah. That's what when you were talking about interviewing, like I was thinking about her specifically is like, as a writer and a creative, because that's just what she is. She's just a creative. I'll just be honest and call it what it is. Like her being able to interview and get information from other creatives, I think would be huge for her, in her development and her like expanding kind of her mindset on writing and developing. So that's why when you said it immediately, I was like, oh man, that's amazing. Like, yeah,
she could definitely do that with her personality and her creativity.
Yeah.
Sounds like a winner. That is amazing. Good for you.
Yeah, we're blessed, right? Like me and my wife talk about it all the time because when she was in pre-K, she would not read. Like we were doing like the Bob books where like, this very simple reading, and she would cry and have a fit. And then she went to kindergarten, and like in the first month, she was like just blowing us away with what she was reading. Like, where is this coming from? And then she just continued and just like, it was almost in spite of us. And then all of a sudden she just kept going and kept going. And I'm like, we talk about all the time. I was like, remember when she used to hate reading? Like she used to, I mean, when I say have a fit, she would have an absolute, like you see little kids in the grocery store having a fit because they can't get, these are the kind of fits she was having about reading, Tom Sees a Cat, like the very basic reading. But now, man, you can't get her to put a book down. Like you
sounds like you guys are doing an outstanding job with your kids. It's the most important job you're going to do for sure.
100%.
And be 100%. Connected to it. And you're advocating this to many, many hundreds, if not thousands of people through your podcast. We need more people like you, Rod.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'll take that. I'm be pretty humble about it, but I'll take that. I appreciate it. I got a question though, because of what you did as a career for so long, and I know this is one of the things, and it's one of the pillars that I consider in fatherhood, is the finance piece, right? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of us as fathers that, as providers being one of our main titles, we're concerned about finance and taking care of our home. But then also there's a lot of us that didn't get a good amount of financial literacy from our parents. And so now we're thinking, okay, how do we teach that to our children? How do we prepare them financially? What are some of the I guess the lessons in finance that we should be teaching our kids as they get older?
Well, there's so much. I think you start with, we never had allowances for our kids. They had responsibilities on the property. They're part of being part of the family member. They had to do so. Changing the dog's water, taking the trash out, all the basic things. Okay. But we never did allowances. I did educate the kids early on understanding about saving, and having a savings account, and then eventually owning a stock like a Disney stock or some kind of an equity they could learn. But that financial literacy is a big issue. That's another maybe discussion we should have on a podcast. That's a whole nother genre of how to do it. But I think you have to have the idea that there is a saving structure for them. So we would always have, what you spend on yourself, what you have in gifting towards charity, and then you have a savings account. And the savings account wasn't strictly a savings account at the bank. It was usually an index like a S&P 500 or something with stocks. If you start educating equities to them early, let's own some Disney. You have one share of Disney. Let's follow it on the phone. Here's how it works. Got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, little bite-sized pieces, but I don't believe in chores. I don't believe in, not sure. I believe in gigs, but I don't believe in giving your kids money if they're part of the family. These are responsibilities. You're part of this family, and that means you do X, Y, Z to help out. Okay. Extra credit. You want to wash your car? Boom. Then that's extra credit. You want to do this or a little extra credit. You get compensated for that.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I was going to ask you, like, what there's chores obviously that are a part of, because I got chores, right? I got stuff I got to do and nobody's paying me for them. So you got stuff you have to do.
So you have a family, you have a unit. Everybody's a team, right?
Right. But then if they do something above and beyond that list
so they
of
want
things,
to do something that requires an extra issue. I'm trying to think of things at our place. Clearly there was extra things they would do on the property.
Right.
But I think that in order to be in this family, we all have responsibilities. And so one of the big responsibilities is if your mother ever has to say, take the trash out, you lose. Okay. I don't care if it's halfway, take the thing out, take it out. We can buy 2 cents for a plastic bag. Okay. Right?
Right. Yeah.
Take it out. If your mom has to, can someone take the trash out? That's losing. She should never has to ask. Yeah. That's a big one in our house. Okay. So
no, that makes sense.
To get us. Can someone take the trash out?
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That makes sense. You know what I heard somebody say, and I've thought about it and kind of gone back and forth, and I don't know how to get to that point just yet. I like the idea, and I'll say what it is here in a second, but I don't know if it fits in what we do. But it was a podcast, and he was talking about kind of similar. They don't do allowances, but what happens with his kids and their teens now is like he has them come up with a proposal, like they want extra money. They have to come up with almost like a business proposal. Like, these are the things that I will do around the house or whatever in order to earn whatever the thing is, or to earn money to get something, right? What do you think about that idea? Like, having them kind of put something together, because I think one, it does prepare them later on for
absolutely
entrepreneurial opportunities. But
absolutely 100% having a proposal. We've done that with family foundations where the family has money and there's a charity. The kids have to research a charity where they want some of the money to go. So they have to do a presentation to the family on why $1,000 should go to the Boys and Girls Club of Claremont, as an example. So we've done it that way. There's many different ways to be creative. I think the key here is many dads and moms, one of them in the affluent world is a narcissist. And a narcissist meaning someone, it's all about them. And I've dealt with folks like that for years. The key here is making your kids go through healthy struggles. Let them figure it out on their own. They don't have to do it. You don't do everything for them. That actually hurts them. So if you think about when you're a young boy, or when I was a young boy, I had to do a lot of stuff. Mom and dad didn't do everything for me. So the reality is making Reagan and Reese do things, and they're already off to an amazing start from what I'm hearing. Creative, writing a play, doing this, doing that. My goodness gracious, they're off to a great, and they're only 10 and 12. Fourth grade, and second. Wait,
seventh grade.
Fourth and seventh. So they're already off to a great start. But the reality is leadership by example. They see everything that you and mom do. and they take their cues that way. And it's all about confidence. Life is a confidence game. So that I believe button, as I mentioned earlier, is a huge value, especially with boys and girls. There's no gender differential. You could have a very, very shy little guy who's scared of his own shadow, sucking his thumb in the corner, or you can have someone who's going to go out and practice going first and introduce themselves first. Who does that? Not many kids do that in this day and age.
Right. Yeah.
That would be something that your girls would be, I would think, very good at. Practice going first. If that's one narrative from today's talk, we pick one thing, that's one thing they can actually control. They can actually control the volume of the room with that one tactic.
Yeah, I like that. And that's something I think I'm definitely going to lean into, because I do notice sometimes, for as big a personality as both of them have, I do notice sometimes that they'll shy away from being openly, like completely themselves in certain situations. Like sometimes they'll, they're like, because I'm more observant, right? Not that I won't take control of the room or set the temperature or be the thermostat of a situation, but I do like to observe what's happening first before I insert myself. But I see them maybe taking that from me and taking a step back. I'm not taking a step back when I do it. I'm stepping in.
That's your that's your style. That's who you are. I would say I have my daughter who's now 30. My daughter was 5 feet tall, petite. First, teach him a really good handshake. That's right. Old school handshake. And I'm talking about, don't squeeze their hand off like Hercules, but it should be firm. And they're there. It's never a princess shake for a woman, ever. I would never hire someone if they gave me the princess shake. I need a firm shake, bold, strong woman that demonstrates that you're bold and confident. Right off the bat. Remember, you have 7 seconds to determine your body. Body language is huge in the first 7 seconds meeting someone. So for a young lady, many young ladies don't even know how to handshake. They really don't even know how to do that. In this day and age, people are doing fist knocks, elbows, whatever, handshake. Then there should be them leading a conversation. What brings you here today? Tell me about you could give them lead-in questions for them to be a question person, to asking questions and taking notes.
Yeah.
And guess what's going to happen? They'll get good at this. They'll get really good at this. So there's so many sidebars of this conversation we can get into. We don't have the time for. I think we touched on a lot of different things that could, I think, hopefully useful to your fans. More importantly, is doing it. The only way you're going to get good at the stuff is doing it. You can't just look at this stuff and watch a podcast and say, okay, that sounds good. Now what? What are you going to commit to? I'm going to take this idea. I love that idea about having a vision board or putting on my phone or practice going first or doing something called win streak or, there's a lot of unique tools, but it's hard to do because life gets in the way and we always revert back to our average or where we were. To really, really grow, it takes courage. That's hard because that means you're getting outside your comfort zone in anything you do. Difficult.
Yeah. Like I said, there's, like you said, actually, there's a ton of things that we can branch off and go in a bunch of different directions here. And we talked about a whole lot, and I've been bookmarking. For you guys that are watching on YouTube, when I reach down, I'm bookmarking different things that are said that I want to make sure I come back to. But taking in everything that we talked about, being a father yourself, and this is a fatherhood podcast, I would be remiss if I did not ask you, what does fatherhood mean to you?
I would probably say, from my perspective, it's the most important thing I could be doing. With all the financial success and businesses I've had, I take pride in doing the little things for my family, like picking my kids up from the airport last night at LAX. Example. I just enjoy being that leader, but also demonstrating it. So I really do enjoy. We have family dinners every Sunday night. Everybody comes over. So I really believe it's the most important job you'll have. Making money is another piece of being a good steward, but also being there for your kids and enjoying the journey. It's the little things. So I would say that's the most important job, as well as a mom.
I agree. I think no matter what you do, no matter how high you ascend, the greatest title you'll ever receive is father. No matter if you're the president, the CEO, whoever you are, when people ask you, you usually say father, right? Like even if you have mountains of money, right? You're Scrooge McDuck and you're swimming through gold coins. His most important thing was to be Huey, Dewey, and Louie's uncle. Like that, you know what I mean? Like he sacrificed everything to be there and present for them. And I think sometimes we lose sight of that because we are chasing the ideals of what success is. But success at the end of the day is the title that you hold as father.
100%. We're on the same page for that one, for sure.
Absolutely. Now, I got one more question for you. If we did this thing right, we marketed the podcast or the book, or just we got all of the right people in the room, and we got all the fathers here to listen, and they're at the edge of their seats at this moment. What is it that you want them to hear?
I would ask for each father to instill a mindset of having your kids create value for other people. So be a giver, and have the kids be the mindset of being a value creator. Everything starts with creating value for others. So it's all about the other people. Have your kids learn how to create value. And that would be my mission. It's not about what you can take or what you can get. It's about what value you can give to somebody else. So that would be my narrative.
Yeah, I think if everybody had that mindset and we all kind of pursued the world in that way, it would drastically change
There's
the
very
outcomes.
few that have that mindset, but that's what makes this special, because your girls will have that mindset for sure. You have that mindset before we even got on this call. So you possess it now, you're demonstrating it with your actions. It's huge. Good for you, man. Great job.
Thank you. I appreciate it. But let me say this, for all the guys that are listening, for the guys who will see this, I want to say thank you for taking the time, not only to spend the time with us in this moment, but to spend all the time that you spent leading up to you writing the book, all the information and effort and energy that you put into that, because I know how time consuming that can be, right? Not only that, but it's also all of the years of experience that go into putting something like that together that will last in perpetuity, like will go forever. So I'm saying thank you for the guys like right now, but also for the gentlemen in the future who take advantage of and read and learn and share with their children. What you've done and what you're doing is such important work. And I just want to say thank you. Yeah, I'm sure you hear it, but I want to make sure you hear it right now. Thank you so much for what you've done.
It just was released like a month ago. I'm still not used to being an author. So it's okay. God. So it's still relatively fresh. It took a long time to write, but thank you for those thoughts.
That's huge. It's huge. And being a new book, like there's already tons of people who are impacted. And you mentioned being impact earlier, right? The return on impact, I think, is going to be huge for you. Just with the things that you've shared, I haven't got a chance to read it yet, but just with the things that you've shared in this 1 hour conversation, I'm like, man, there's so many things I can do with that. Yeah. Like so many things I can do to help move my needle forward for my family and for the families of other guys. And so again, thank you for taking the time out to create, but then also to spend with us and share your information.
My pleasure, Rod. And I look forward to helping out. Any other time I can help out, let me know. I'm a phone call away.
Okay. Now I got a quick before we go.
Sure.
If guys are wanting to reach out to you to either, get the book or thank you for, like I just did, thank you for coming on and sharing with us. What's the best way to do that?
Yeah, probably my website. It'd be it's Barry, Barry at MAG 7 consultants.com. So Barry at mag7consultants.com.
Okay.
That's my webpage and everything's there. And yeah, we're looking forward to a great rest of 2025. A lot of good things going on.
Yeah, for sure. I can see it. And then it will have in the show notes, guys, if you guys are driving or working out or wherever you're listening to the podcast, come to the show notes. I'll have all the information for you, all Barry's contact information, so you can get in touch with him. A link where you can go get the book. All that stuff will be there for you to make sure that you consume all that Barry has to offer, and that you help your family become a better version and help yourself even become a better version of you to lead them in the future.
All right. Keep listening to Rod, everybody. He's the real deal.
All right, brother. You enjoy the rest of your day, and
Thank you,
I'll be
Rod. All the
talking to you
best to you and
soon.
your lovely family. All the best. Take care.
All right.
Bye.
Man, that was a masterclass in fatherhood and life. Big thank you to Barry for dropping so much wisdom. If you got value from this conversation, take 30 seconds to leave a review or share this episode with another dad who wants to lead with purpose. And make sure to check out the show notes for Barry's book and contact info. He's doing work that every father needs to know about. Until next time, keep showing up strong in your faith, family, finance, and fitness. This is Rod, signing off from Fit Fatherhood Podcast.